The Yiddish Fish. Oy vey by Santiago Cohen. Once there was a fishmonger named Rob Costello who worked at the Brooklyn fish market. One morning a fish looked up at him and started screaming in Yiddish. "There's Zoff ain't Zoff! The end is here!" Rob was too stunned to move. He couldn't kill such a remarkable creature. "Help me! Help me! There's soft ain't so! The end is here!" He didn't know why the fish chose to speak to him. He didn't understand Yiddish. Rob Costello began to wonder if his friends were playing a prank on him. "Help! Help!" He looked to see if there were any speakers hidden under the table. "There's soft ain't so! The end is here!" But when the fish stood up and stared straight into his eyes, Rob really flew into a panic. "Stop it! I don't understand what you're saying!" Rob cried. He ran to Mr. Lipschitz, his boss, to see if he knew what to do about the talking fish. "Mr. Lipschitz," Rob shouted, "something fishy is happening." Mr. Lipschitz didn't like being interrupted, so he was not amused by Rob's story. But when Rob led him to the other room, Mr. Lipschitz nearly fainted when he heard the fish speaking his mother tongue. "They're soft! The end!" They took a couple knives from the table just in case the fish was aggressive. Mr. Lipschitz couldn't believe he was hearing such a beautiful Yiddish accent coming from the mouth of a fish. "Der Welt sieht unter. The world is ending." "It sounds like my Aunt Louise," he cried. But clearly the fish feared for its life when it saw two lunatics with knives coming towards it. The fish wisely jumped back into the tank where it came from before the two crazy-eyed men chopped off its head. Mr. Lipschitz tried to catch the fish, but it looked like all the others in the tank. They didn't know which one had the magic speaking powers. One by one, Rob Costello and Mr. Lipschitz took all the fish out of the tank, but not one made a peep. After a while, it seemed that none of the fish could actually talk. But just in case it was really Aunt Louise, Rob Costello and Mr. Lipschitz decided it would be bad luck to kill any of the fish. They drove all the way to New Jersey to a lake Mr. Lipschitz used to visit as a child. Rob Costello and Mr. Lipschitz dumped the fish into the lake. The two men were unsure if they actually heard or simply imagined a fish giggling just before it swam into the lake. As Rob watched the school of fish in the pond, he thought he heard all of the fish laughing. He and Mr. Lipschitz sat down to enjoy the beautiful sunset, still not quite believing in the talking fish. The lake and everything around it quieted down after nightfall. But that night, the neighbors swore they could hear the singing of a klezmer tune coming from the lake. And when they heard it, they didn't want the tune to end. But after a while, all the fish became sleepy, and it ended.